I'm going to start off today's video a little different. This is a tribute to the town of Lytton, the hotspot for Canada. On Tuesday, we set a record for the highest temperature in Canada ever recorded. 49.6 degrees Celsius, I believe. I had the privilege of driving through Lytton last summer. When I filmed this, I'm going to take a drive through the town to show you what the town looked like. Because as of yesterday, the town is no more. A devastating fire went through and everything you see here burned to the ground. All the power poles, the cell towers, all the buildings, the hospital, the police station, the ambulance station, the fire department. Everything burned to the ground. Speculation is the fire was touched off by a spark from a railway car. We just went under the railway bridge. Railway goes right through the town, right beside the town. Everything here is gone. 95% of the buildings in Lytton completely leveled. I'm going to show a quick clip that I got off the internet of people evacuating at the end of this. But I'm going to let this part play through. This is the main street. All gone. This is a tribute to the people of Lytton. And our prayers go out to you in hopes that you'll rebuild and bring this town back. Got another Tascam DA40 digital audio tape deck sent in for repair. This one's got the Mecha Com Err message on the screen, and we can hear a motor running, so the belt is going to be shot for sure. But after replacing the belt, I found that there's another problem. We had no sound, and then it cut in on its own, so a little bit more troubleshooting. Let's check it out. Sounds like a motor spinning, and the mechanism communication error message comes up. Sounds like a loading belt. Let's see whether all that's needed to fix this one is a loading belt. Okay, first things first, we'll remove the mechanism so that it can be checked out. The loading belt is on the bottom of this one, so we'll just remove the screws that hold the mechanism in place. These ones have to be one of the easiest machines to change the loading belt on. Basically, 4 screws to take the chassis out, 4 screws to take the bottom off, undo the one connector for the motors, which is this one down at the bottom here. Actually, you don't even have to do that, but I like to do it just because I don't want to damage the ribbon cable. So remove the ribbon connector, and then the board will lift out to reveal not only the motors, but the loading belt. In this case, there isn't one. This one here, there's no loading belt left. This one just completely disintegrated. I have here a tiny O-ring. I don't know if this is going to do the job or not, but it certainly is small enough. If I can get enough torque on it, it probably will do the job. So tiny little O-ring is replacing the belt. This little O-ring, by the way, is part of a flashlight repair kit for a rechargeable flashlight. I believe it was for, I forget what model, but it's for one of the through night ones. I think one of the through night flashlights I reviewed. They gave a set of replacement O-rings with it, and it just so happens that it looks to be the right size. So we'll see whether that will fix this one up, because I don't have an OEM belt for one of these. I had one, but I used it in that portable that I worked on in the last video. Well, that part works. Okay, tape appears to thread okay. I press play. It's reading the time code off the tape. So when I first put the tape in, I had nothing on here, but I had no sound. The counter was moving, but then sound kicked in. I don't know whether one of the heads was a bit contaminated or what, but it's been playing now for a while. Just gonna let this thing play for a little while longer. It looks like maybe just the belt was at fault on this, but there are known issues with the board on this one that can cause no sound. I had one that had a problem with no sound. But so far, it's looking to be performing as expected after just changing the loading belt, which is the most common fault on this one. I've had a couple of failures. I had a regulator fail on one of my DA40s. I've got 2 DA40s. I had a regulator fail on one of mine, and it was causing that Mecha Com Err and the belt, of course. But this one's working okay. Check our errors on the even the errors are not excessive. These are the CRC errors. Drum hours 0000. This one here, somebody has reset the drum. I think this probably came from eBay, and this machine probably has very high hours on it. There's no way that it's got 0 hours on the drum. There's a procedure to reset the drum hours, and I get the sneaking suspicion that somebody has done that on this one. They've reset the drum hours so they can sell it and make more money, maybe. Who knows? But remember how to get into this menu. There we go. I think my machine's got about 200 hours, 250 hours on the drum, which would be considered fairly low hours. Because I've seen these units with the drum, you know, with 2,000 hours on them, and they're still working. The drum is usually good for 2,000 to 3,000 hours, and I've seen them with 2,000 hours on the drum, and it's still working, no problem. But when I see one that's 0, then it makes me think that someone's trying to hide the real number of hours, and this thing may have several thousand hours of use on it. And someone's reset it to make it come up as a much lower hour count, like it's brand new, and of course it's not brand new. But it's playing good now, so just had to change the belt on this one, and this one here might be ready to go back. I'll just continue to run it for a while. When I first fired it up, I got no sound. The tape counter was moving, but I got no sound, and then it kicked in, so I don't know why it kicked in. Whether just maybe one of the heads was a bit dirty, or there may be an issue still. So I was going to fast forward and rewind this tape. See how that mechanism sounds. After rewinding, I went to play the tape again, and I got no sound. And then the sound came back. Actually, the sound came back after I was tapping on the board a bit. I didn't get it on camera. My camera was off when it happened. So let's pull the board. I was trying to figure out why I was losing my sound. So I figured I'd pull the board, and I have a regulator here that you can see is not doing too good. Let's resolder this regulator and see why. There's a couple of other connections on here too that look questionable, like these ones up here. Where are they? Right there. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why initially when I put a tape in, I had no sound, like nothing, and then it just kicked in. Like I had it playing, I thought the tape was blank at first, and then all of a sudden music started like mid-song. So let's just redo these connections here and see whether this changes anything on this one. Having trouble seeing this. I'm getting a reflection right in my eyes from the lamp, from the work light, the angle that it's sitting. Just heard on the news that the fire that went through Lytton has burned, like they say, 80% of the town is burned. Police stations burned down, ambulance station, hospital. They got word, was it yesterday, to evacuate. And everybody had to get out of town, and the fire went through and basically burned the entire town. Lytton held the record for the hottest place in Canada on Tuesday. It was a real hot place. That's not what burned it to the ground, though. They figure it was a train that went through that may have caused a spark. And now we can revisit the decision by the railroad to eliminate the caboose and get rid of the firefighters. You know, the trains used to always have a caboose on them, and the firemen would sit in the caboose and watch to make sure that no sparks came off the brakes or anything. I've seen connections here all over the place that are questionable here. And if he saw any smoke or any fire, well, they could stop the train and fight it right there, right? But cost cutting, you know, the government's cutting back and the railway company's cutting back. They eliminated the firemen, or eliminated the caboose. I think they still have a fireman, but he sits up now with the conductor and the engineer. Or is that the switchman? I don't know. You train guys will probably know. Anyway, if it was caused by a train, if the fire was caused by a train, then you have to ask yourself, why the hell did they ever get rid of having a fireman at the back where he can see what's happening up ahead on the side of the track? Just something to think about, right? Okay, put the board back in after resoldering the regulator and the input-output jacks on the back. I have sound. And, oh, I've got 1 hour on the drum now. I've had it now running for an hour. This machine, because of the problems that I was running into on this one, I'm going to run this thing for a while, do some recording, do some playback and stuff, but I think I got it. So I had to change the belt, for one, because the belt was melted. And as I say, when I first fired it up, I had no sound on, like, I had no output. And then it just kicked in. So a little bit of investigating found that the regulator here, this one right down in the middle of the board here, that one there, when I pulled the board, that's the one that the connections were all cracked on, and some on the back. So resoldered that, put it back in. So far so good. He actually included a tape with it with music, but I can't play that one for you guys. I just put the Music Bakery on, but I'm going to go listen to his tape, because the tape that came in with this is actually pretty cool. I have a sneaking suspicion that the tape that's on here is going to be, well, the tape will be going back with it, but a copy of that tape is going to end up on my computer, because he's got good taste in music. So I'm just going to make a test recording now, and it is in record pause, and hit play, start the music playing. We'll let this record. And see how this one plays back. Pretty confident that this machine now is fixed. This is a track that I downloaded from the YouTube music library, so we shouldn't have any issues with this one. Okay, time to play it back. And I think that's where it starts. Yep. There's our recording that we just made. This unit is fixed. This is one of my favorite DAT machines right here. Let's just say I got two of these. This is probably my favorite of all the digital audio tape decks that I own. This one here is this model is my favorite of them all. As I say, I've got two. I got one that I use, and I got one that's spare, that's just waiting for its day to be put back in service. Mine have about 200 and I think 243 hours on the drum on mine. But as I said earlier, I'm pretty sure this one somebody reset it. So it probably has a lot more than that. You know, it's probably got a couple thousand hours and someone's reset it, because there is a procedure that one can use to reset this. I'm assuming it was to be used at the factory service centers when the drum was replaced, and they would reset the counter on it, because units like this, when they were used in a professional environment, like in a recording studio, for example, they had maintenance schedules. So like every 1,000 or 2,000 or however many 100 hours, I don't know what the recording studios would have set them at, but typically the heads were rated at 2,000 hours. It doesn't mean they're going to fail at 2,000 hours. It's just like VHS machines were rated at 1,000 hours, but they would go a lot longer than that. But when they get to that 2,000 hours, it means that the heads are starting to wear to the point where the errors are going to start increasing. So typically in a commercial professional environment, the engineering staff would swap the drum out when it got to that, you know, to that recording time or running time. So there's a way for them to reset it so that they can track it. And someone has reset this one. And the way that it's done is, I'm just kind of going off the cuff because I read it, but you take a tape and you punch in one of the holes on here, and then you rewind it, or you fast forward the tape to the end, and at the end of it you press a series of buttons. I have it written down somewhere, but there is a procedure to do it. Anyway, I think this one's done. I'm going to continue to test this for a while, but I think we can probably, it's probably fairly safe to say that this one's fixed. Rewind. This is the tape that came with the unit. I'm going to take a listen to this one before I put it together. It's already been running for a while. So can't play this one on the channel, but I'm going to monitor this thing and put this one together. This one's all fixed. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.